All right. I think we're ready to go. Hi, I'm Mojo Medium. Welcome to Woo Wednesdays. Do the woo. Woo. Welcome. We are going to do things a little differently. I like to shake things up all the time, as you know, if you've ever seen me before. Again, I'm Mojo Medium, aka Susan Morrow Johnson, and this is our weekly event, Woo Wednesdays, in which we share, discuss, learn, do a little hot seat or maybe love seat coaching. And oh yeah, I'm going to do a different angel card thing this time. I'm going to start with the good news angel card, and then we're going to do uh, a little bit different angel card reading at the end. But right now we're just getting started, and then we will have possibly an interview, a little discussion, and we'll see what comes up along the way, and then we'll wrap up with the cards. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to start with the good news only angel card reading. I was inspired, guided, divinely moved to create these cards some years ago because when people found out I was a psychic, they would very often say, what bad thing is coming? What do I need to be worried about? What do I need to get prepared for? And I just finally went, that's too much. You need to be looking for the good, not looking for the bad, because your brain is always on the lookout for danger. And that's why negative thoughts are so easy. And when you look for something, you find it. So when you're always looking for something to be worried about, you're going to find a lot to be worried about. But when you are looking for or expecting something good, then you will find something good. So that's what these are for. These cards, each one has it has a word or phrase that can only be interpreted to be good news. It's something for you to look forward to in the next few days to a week. And if you are seeing this in the replay, ooh, one jumped out. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle anyway, and we'll see if that's the one. If you're seeing this in the replay, just know that this is for you, no matter when you might see it, because that's how readings work. Handy dandy. All right, let's shuffle the third, and then I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cut the deck and pull one, and then I'm gonna see what the one was that jumped out. Let's see here. Oh, a stitch in time. Okay, so we know this expression, a stitch in time saves nine, right? So that means that, oh, you got the small thing done and prevented something much worse, right? Okay. So this has to do with, it's more to do with being on time to something, like you thought you're going to be late and then you weren't late. So I know it's a funny thing to try to look forward to, but maybe it's sort of like saying, well, if you feel like you're going to be late or you're worried about being late, you don't have to worry about it. So that's, in a way, that's a good thing to look forward to. Okay, here's the one that I drew, not the one that jumped out. So long distance news. I like that. And long distance good news, obviously. So back in the day, now Candy and I know about long distance. We used to have to pay for calling people on the phone over a long distance. Interestingly enough, I was in England in 1983, and over there you paid for local calls. And I don't know what they did about long distance. Anyway, okay, so let's take a look at long distance news. It does seem to be good news coming from a very long way away. It could even be overseas. Um, but it is good news. And I'm trying to figure out what it's going to be. I can't pick it up for you. So think of who you might know from overseas or from a very long distance and expect to hear good news about that person or from that person or for yourself. Yeah, so that's something to look forward to in the next few days to a week and to strengthen that look for the good muscle. All right, moving right along. I think I had a topic picked out for today and now I've forgotten it. So I'm going to start. I will wait for the divine inspiration. It'll come back. So I think I'm going to start with introducing you to Candy Butler. She's been here several times before, but we have not interviewed you. Would you like for us to talk about Candy for a little bit?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
tell us where you are in the world.
I'm in Houston, Georgia. But
Houston, Georgia.
Houston, it's northeast Georgia.
Northeast Georgia. So are you near the coast?
No,
No.
about an
Okay.
hour from Atlanta.
Okay. Okay. I see that, there's there are different accents all around there, and I think you have a more northern Georgia accent. Is that right?
I don't know.
Are you from there?
Yes,
Oh, I'm always interested in these things. We're probably kin. I got, I had ancestors in Georgia, so we might just be kin, and I like
we
that.
might be.
Yeah, yeah, I'm telling you, I always try to find out, oh, you're from that area. Who do I know
Mm.
over there? I've got relatives in East Texas or ancestors in East Texas that are related to a dear close friend of mine from childhood. And when I found out that some of these little tiny towns that my ancestors lived in were named after his ancestors, I was like, oh, we're cousins. There's no question. There's no way that your folks and my folks were all over that area and we're not related because there weren't that many folks. So, okay. All right. So tell us why you come to Woo Wednesdays and what's the appeal of the metaphysical and woo for you?
Um, I like coming out because I learn a lot. I
Good.
learn a lot from these talk shows, and what other people say usually really sticks.
Yeah.
It's better to watch it and see them say it. I don't know why, but um,
Yeah, I know. And that's why I do it. I mean, I've written newsletters for 100 years, thousands of newsletters that will be about the things we talk about here. And that does not have the same impact, you
mhm.
know. And I'm sure that depends on how you learn, at how each person learns. But yeah, video is very, very a good way to learn and to hear things and get really good information. So go ahead.
Yeah.
You're very woo yourself. So
Well, thank
um,
you.
did you see my
Um,
email earlier about melatonin?
no,
Okay. Well, I just mentioned, and I won't tell people why I told you this because you may not want to share that story. But I took melatonin for a very short time to help me sleep, and it gave me psychedelic fever dreams that were scary. So
mm,
I didn't take it anymore. So my suggestion is, if you were taking melatonin, quit.
mhm.
So
I like
have you been taking
no,
melatonin? No. Okay.
no. Mm-mm.
Well, then I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right.
Um,
So go ahead with some of your woo stuff.
I like crystals. I've always
Mm.
been interested in crystals, although I've never really told anybody that. And now that I'm 62, I'm going to go all out. And I bought me some crystals and a book to read up on them. I got me some angel cards.
Oh,
Hmm. And
which
I got
angel
another
cards did
set
you get?
coming. These were angel number.
Oh, really? Do you have
And
them there? Could you
yeah,
show me? So I'm really interested in
yeah.
that.
2 days in a row, I picked the same cards.
Isn't that funny how that works? Because you get what
Yeah.
you get. Angel numbers. And who does it have, like, who created those somewhere on there?
Manufacturer is SISHUI. See that on the bottom?
Yeah, but it doesn't have like an author or anything. Interesting.
Mm-mm.
Angel number cards. I'm going to look into those because last week, no, not last week, 2 weeks ago, there was a lady on here who she was into angel numbers, and she had an old book that's out of print by Doreen Virtue. And it's angel numbers, I think, or maybe angel numbers plus or something like that. It was like a second book. And then anyway, it's out of print. I found it on Amazon, but it's not cheap and you have to get it used. Anyway, so she looked up my favorite number. And I've been seeing this number forever. And I never could really find out what it meant. And I know this much about numerology, just kind of some basics. And so my favorite number is 68. So 6 is the home number, 8 is the money number. I knew that, and that was about all I knew. But every time I will see 68, I go, oh, that has something to do with income, money coming to me, that sort of thing. I don't know why, but that's just what I always thought. And so this lady looked it up in the angel numbers book, and sure enough, it's about remembering that the universe is the source of your income, that kind of thing. And I was like, wow, I've got to start looking at this. The thing is that I always say to people about angel numbers, about 1111, 1234, 222, that sort of thing. Number one, technically, psychologically, it doesn't really mean anything because your brain is automatically looks for patterns of all kinds, but your brain also picks up on things that you like. And so when you go, oh, it's 222, that's such a cool thing, it's all the same number, then your brain is like, oh, well, we'll show you that again. You'll notice that again. You'll notice it again. So, that in that way, it doesn't mean anything. But at the same time, you're noticing it. You told your brain to pick up on it. It means something to you. And so, with regard to your angel numbers or anything else that you see as a symbol of something, I say if it means something to you, it means something to you. So just because somebody says, well, that's just your brain showing you 222 over and over again. Yeah, it is. But at the same time, it means something to you. So take that significance as being real. This also happens with some symbols that we see of our late loved ones, like my dad and I, we have the hummingbird between us. My late husband and I, we have the orange ladybug. That's my little symbol. And a lot of people have cardinals and butterflies and different things. And you could say, well, but that's just a thing. No, it's not. It shows up when it shows up, and it's something unusual that you would never see. It wasn't long after my dad died, and I was coming home from his house, I think, and I pulled into the driveway, and there were some apartments behind our house. And up on the balcony, somebody on a balcony, somebody had put hummingbird feeders, and I think I'd already seen the hummingbird feeders. But I pulled around into the driveway and around, and I looked up and saw half a dozen hummingbirds all over the
Oh,
feeder. Just saw them that one time and never saw them again. So, that's the kind of thing that you go, wow, just because it's so, it's like, how could it not be significant? Right. And I really believe that. I believe that if it means something to you, it means something to you. So go for it. All right. So tell me more about your crystals. I don't know much about them. I do have a few different rocks and stones, and you can look them up. And I'm looking around like, I just moved. I don't know where anything is. But I have some Amazonite, which I really like. And
mhm.
you could look that up and tell me about that. Amazonite. Yeah. So, now you also make jewelry. Do you use crystals and stones in your jewelry?
Yes, sometimes I do. Mhm.
Cool.
I love the
Yeah.
natural stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I hate tarnish, so I want to go with rocks and natural stuff, leather and
Brilliant.
suede, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I love sterling silver, and I have found out finally how to clean it and really clean it. And it's, do you know about putting uh, aluminum foil into a pan? You know about that little trick? Okay, so
Mm-mm.
it's a chemical reaction. So you put aluminum foil with the shiny side up in a pan and or a bowl, and you put the item you're cleaning into that. And then you boil water, and I mean boiling hot, it has to be boiling. You pour it in there, and then you dump baking soda in there, and you leave it for 15 minutes. And you come back, and the tarnish is gone. It's amazing. So cool.
Wow,
Yeah,
I'll give
it's so
that a
much
try.
better than the rubbing.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
be careful rubbing.
yeah. Well, and not only that, but it's like what I was cleaning most recently was a chain. You can't
Yeah.
you can't rub the tarnish off of a chain. It just doesn't
Mm-mm.
work. So that's really, really neat. Okay, so tell us more. Sorry, you said you like natural things, and I think that's awesome. So tell us more about your stones.
I got some sage, and it's the first time I've ever gotten any. So I burned some last night. Kept going out on me. Kind of hard to stay lit. But I did the whole house, and I've
Mhm,
never done that before.
mhm.
So I just asked for peace and light only to be in this house,
I
all
love
over
it.
this house.
That was a very good way to do that. Okay, let me ask you a couple questions about it. You said it kept going out. What kind of sage did you use? Was it white sage?
Yeah, I think so. It's not. It's not dark.
Well,
It's
is
not a
it kind
dark
of a
green.
little bundle that looks sort of like, you know, rolled
Yeah,
up gray paper?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. And when you say it kept going on out, do you mean that like it would just be sort of like coals and no flame?
It would be red inside,
Mhm.
but then it would just get smaller and smaller. It wouldn't stay lit.
Okay,
So I had
okay.
this.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, that looks like the right stuff. So it's not, I just want to make sure you understood it's not really supposed to have a flame. It's just supposed to have a little bit of smoke coming off.
No, okay.
Yes, so it's
So it
kind of
doesn't have to all be,
smoldering.
no, not all be lit on the end. Just a
No,
little bit of
mm-mm.
smoke is fine.
Just enough so that it's giving you a little smoke. It's pretty subtle, really. I mean, it's not a torch, right?
Yeah.
Just like little bits of burning that gives off, like the edge of paper, gives off some smoke. So that's good. And that's a good intention. That was what I was going to ask you about is your intention. You always want to say it like you did. And this is, for everybody. You don't want to say, go away, bad stuff. You want to go, come in, good stuff. And only good stuff come in. Only good stuff, whatever that might be, like you said, peace and love, peace and light. So that is a good way to do it. Did you get the corners?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
only feather I had was to my pin. I need to
What was
find a
the feather
natural feather.
for?
It said to um, blow it
Like
into the
use it to
corner.
wave the smoke?
Yeah.
Okay, that's just, yeah, okay. Wasn't sure what that was about. I have uh, a crystal bell, and we just moved, and so isn't this pretty? My
Mm-hmm.
daughter just found that in a resale shop. So I was going to use this. I am going to use this as to clear our house. You can do that as well. You can use little brass bells or cymbals, and you can use crystal bell or a singing bowl, and you go around your house just like you did with the sage and smudging. And I've done that before too. And you can go around and do that. You can also use, I've heard, and I haven't done this one, I've heard you can use pots and pans, like bang a lid on a pan, go get in the
Mm-hmm.
corners, each room, come in and bless every room, clear it, and maybe open the windows. I don't know, but that's a very cool thing. I'm just a little concerned about the dreams that followed. Um,
Yeah, you
there's
read that.
another thing that is, yeah, yeah. So there's another thing um, that is more, I think, under witchcraft, and that is to pour salt into every opening, every window sill, and every door threshold around the outside of the house. I mean, you can do it inside, but everything that goes to the outside, and that will keep anything from coming in that you don't invite. And
Okay.
I don't know if this is true, but a friend of mine tried it, and there was somebody that she really did not like, and wanted him to go away. And she did this. And after she poured it across her threshold, he came to the door and he would not come in.
Wow.
It wasn't like, oh, I no, it wasn't like, oh, I can't come in, there's salt. It wasn't that, but he was just like, no, I'll just stay right here, you
Mm.
know? And I think she even invited him and he wouldn't come over the salt. So that might be a neat trick. It might help you with your
Mm-hmm.
sleep, your dreams, and so forth. I don't know, something else to do.
Yeah.
Now that you're learning about crystals, you will also be learning more about that. I want to go back to something you said earlier because I would like to hear more from you, and I feel like I'm talking too much as usual. So you said earlier, now that I'm 62, I'm just going to go all in, and I got some crystals, and I got a book about it, whatever. And talk about that. What happens as we get older as women? Because I'm right behind you. I'm 61, so I'm not judging about the age, but I noticed around 50 that the feist became really feisty, extra feisty. I like to say that, I just got a really great big, pardon my French, don't give a fuck. It's just like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Screw you people. For example, I've been growing out my hair. It's okay, but it looks ordinary to me. 6 months ago, I had it short on the sides, longer on top. It was funky and punky, and I liked it a lot better. So I'm fixing to get my hair cut again. So tell me about your experience becoming an official crone, as we are made crone. Yeah, it's not an insult; it's a compliment. It's a position of authority and wisdom.
Yeah. If those young people would just stop and talk to me, I could tell them all about life.
That's right. If only they knew.
I have the same thing. I just don't give a fuck. Just don't care.
I love it.
And you can look at me and not like me. I grew up with having a stigma about my weight and all that stuff. So I never dated when I was younger and stuff. And I married the perfect man. I married the man that God sent me. We had two wonderful children. I've had a blessed life, blessed life. And I'm good looking. I probably look better now than I did when I was younger because I was bigger, and I'm not as big now.
Mm-hmm.
But I do still get followed around the grocery store from time to time.
Yeah. Isn't that fun? I
Yeah.
tell you what, that's happened to me in the last few years when a younger man will, I mean, when I started wearing my hair short in the funky punky style that I love, younger men would be like, wow, I really like your hair. I'm
Mm.
like, honey, I'm old enough to be your grandma. What are you
Mhm.
doing? You know? But yes, it every once in a while, and sometimes it'll be like a younger man who's maybe in his 40s or maybe 50 and will kind of flirt with me or hit on me. And I'm like, really?
Mhm.
Really? But yeah, we still got it.
We still got it.
Yeah.
I got it even more now.
I
More
think so too.
confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. It's much more about that. What if we had had this in high school? What if we had had this don't give a fuck in high school? Wouldn't we have just been unstoppable?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fun to be unstoppable now. So go ahead. Go ahead. Tell us more about you and your croneness.
I just I think I sympathize with animals too. Um
Interesting.
I don't know, it's animals and children. And it's just
Yes.
really been prevalent in the last few years.
Mhm, mhm. That may be a product of you being more in touch with who you are, because animals and children are very naturally uh, sensitive.
Hmm.
They see people for who they are and what they are. You know how we say, well, like I would not date a man. I'm married now, but I wouldn't have dated a man who wasn't liked by dogs and children. And
Right.
when I had a dog and I would go out walking, it'd be like if she growls at you, that's it. Don't come near me, man, woman, whoever you are. If my dog does not trust you, I don't trust you, right? And
I
so
tr-
that's them picking up on something in you.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
When I was 11, if you got a minute, when I was
yeah.
11, I
Tell
got off
me.
the school bus to spend the afternoon with a friend. The minute I stepped off the bus, her grandmother was sitting on the front porch and she started screaming that I was evil. And she said, "You cannot come here. Go away, you evil girl." I don't remember how I got home, but I did not go in that house. And I have never forgotten it. It just shocked me.
Okay, so hmm, I'm going to say that was that woman's some kind of prejudice. Um, you mentioned that
Mm.
you were heavy in high school. Were you heavy as a child?
Yes.
I think that was the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, oh, you were too heavy.
Hmm.
She was afraid you would make her granddaughter fat, and that's really really hideous and horrible. And to blame a child for anything is stupid. But I don't look at that incident or feel that that woman knew anything or had anything to say. She just was a mean lady.
Yeah.
She wasn't gifted or intuitive or anything like that. And that had nothing to do with you. It had to do with her. And that it's too bad that happened at that age because it
Yeah.
really stuck.
It did.
But if you can release that, that would be a good thing. I don't think you need to do that. Need to worry about it at all. Yeah.
Good.
Did
Thank
you
you.
have any? Yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Did you have anything else happen when you were young that would indicate, that you had some extra intuition or a little bit more
Every pet,
sensitive spirit?
Every pet that I've ever lost, I could always feel them jumping on the bed. I just thought it was me remembering, how the bed felt when they would jump on the bed, but actually really feeling my little dog's footprints coming up to me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just everyone that I have lost. And it
Yeah.
doesn't happen forever, but it happens for a while after they pass. Just
Yeah,
get fed.
I remember when I lost Blue. Blue was my main coon that I did not get to have for long enough. He was 15 when he died. And it wasn't long after he died that I felt him jump on the bed and snuggle up behind my knees like he always did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a comfort to that, there's a real comfort. So that's cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for letting me
Mhm.
talk over you while I was interviewing you. I don't usually do that. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at interviewing and letting people talk. So I apologize if I ran all over you. Let's do a little topic. Let's see here. Did the topic come back? It did not. Okay, so I'm supposed to talk about what I'm talking about now, which is and when I say talking about now is like kind of where my uh, topics of training are going, maybe speaking, training, coaching, etc. And that is about intuition, developing your intuition. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the story that I told recently, and this was interesting. This happened before I thought of this several months ago, and I wrote the email that I sent out this week. I wrote it before the election, but it seemed like it applied to the election. So here's what it was. There was a book a few years ago written by, I can't remember her name, called The Power. And it's a science fiction book about,
Naomi Alderman.
pardon, Naomi, Naomi,
Alderman.
Naomi Alderman. Thank you, because you've read it. It's wonderful. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I found it haunting. So it's also been made into a series on Prime, I think, a limited series. But they left something out of the TV series, which was that the book starts out with a prologue that's a few letters between a writer, a researcher, and his publisher. And the researcher is male, and the publisher is female, or the editor. And you can tell from their letters that it's a matriarchal society. You can tell that she is the person in power, and he is the not. He's the second, you know. And so he has written a history in way in the future about this time now. And so he's writing about what happened that actually created the matriarchal society of the future. And apparently, like, there was a cataclysm and everything was lost. And so they didn't know that the whole world was patriarchal now. And so what happened was that the women discovered they had a power. And the power was something across here that allowed them to shoot electricity out of their hands, and they could do anything with it. And so, understandably, the men became afraid of them. Some of the women went just crazy with violence and hurt people. And but mostly, it was more like women suddenly could be truly equal because their bodies were not in danger anymore. And one of the characters said, "This is so great. I mean, I could go jogging at night. I don't even have to think about it. That's great. I'm perfectly safe." And can you imagine the freedom that would come with that? So here's the thing. I mean, I don't, it might be kind of fun to be able to, you know, I don't want to blast my computer, but it might be fun to be able to, I don't know, start a fire if you want a fire in the fireplace. Um, but I'm not interested in being violent against men. And I thought actually that in the book, even that there was a little more of that than would have probably been, because I don't think that women are prone toward violence, even if they had the strengths. I mean, there are women in the army. Yes, that's true. And there are women who have guns, but I don't think that and this is very broad brush. I understand I'm making the generalization, but I think that in general, if women all suddenly could shoot electricity out of their hands, I don't think we would really go around making war with each other or with the men or anything like that. Anyway, so that's just my opinion. You can tell this book gave me a lot of food for thought. I also thought that, at the end of the book, and this isn't really a spoiler because, I mean, all you know is that the power gave women the power to take over. But at the end of the book, the editor writes back to the researcher, well, I'm very interested to learn more about this supposed, male organized society. It just sounds so interesting. She was almost condescending about it. Oh, you cute little man with your ideas about men being superior in society. That's so cute. And interestingly, long before I read that, I've been working on my own futuristic science fiction novel that involves a matriarchal society, but it's a very different way. But anyway, so the idea of women suddenly recognizing their power is what I was drawing this all to. So now you have the concept of the power. We do have a power that we do not utilize, and most of us don't know we have, and that is our intuition. And of course, you've heard all your life of women's intuition, but you haven't thought of it as being a power. You haven't thought of it as being something special about you or even real. We think of women's intuition as being, oh, when your child is hurt, or when your husband needs you, that kind of thing, or when your child or your husband is doing something they ought not to do. We always know, don't we? But to use your power for good, you need to develop that intuition and develop your spiritual abilities so that you can, let's say, manifest a better life, not only for yourself, but also for others. I've talked about this many, many times. You're probably sick of it. I got to put on a little lipstick. I'm looking pale. And I can't get my lighting right. I always look like I'm just a ghost. And I am. It's true. I glow in the dark. But uh, yeah, I can't get my lighting right. And I can't get my lipstick right. And I'm frustrated. All right. So manifestation, when you learn about your intuition, when you learn about your spirituality, when you learn about how the universe really works and what manifestation is about, this is how you can, like I said, make things better for yourself and others. And as I've been saying about divine feminine, it's the reemergence of the divine feminine. This is what's been going on for a long time, but particularly I've been feeling it since the turn of this century, where the divine feminine is coming back. It just is. And there are a lot of us, a lot of people, mostly women, who have come forth in this time to help all of humanity to ease into this new paradigm. And the ones who are having the worst time of it, who are mostly completely unaware that anything's happening, all they know is that they have to dig in their heels and fight for what they've had. And so those people are the ones who will eventually be able to see the benefit of us becoming more, the divine feminine is like, the feminine values are connection, community, nurturing, support, help. My favorite way to describe the spectrum, and it doesn't have to do with men and women, although men tend to be more divine masculine, women tend to be, but we're always on the spectrum somewhere. We move around all the time. So I always say, okay, over here is the most masculine, the most divine masculine energy you can have, and that is like build and destroy, build and destroy, build and destroy. And over here is the most divine feminine you can get, and it's like hug and cry and hug and cry and hug and cry. So you get the idea, but there's so much more to it. But we're always somewhere between there. And the Overton window, which is where the middle of everybody on the spectrum, has been over towards the build and destroy for a very, very long time. So as we're moving back towards the center, people who are used to that who are used to the way things are, whether they like it or not. That's your subconscious keeping you in what's familiar to keep you safe. That's what our brains do. I mean, you remember I mentioned how your brain's always looking for danger? It is.
Mhm.
And if something is unfamiliar, it is automatically suspect until you convince it, until you convince your subconscious, your brain, and the universe that this is safe to make a change. You can be about to move into a mansion and something will go wrong, or you won't feel comfortable. You'll decide that it's haunted, or you will break it because your subconscious is going, this is not familiar, so it must be dangerous. And so learning that and putting that together with the everything is energy and how to make things move around and do like you like them, that's your power. You got to learn how to do that so you can use your power to help yourself and others into greater peace, prosperity, love, support, connection, community. And that's what we're doing. Okay, that's a really good place to stop. Woo. Okay, before I get to the other angel card reading we're doing today, I want to mention that I invite you to get a destiny diagnostic with me, which is a 20-minute free call where I will talk to you about where you are and where you want to be. We'll look at your intuition and see what you need there, whether it's obvious to you or not. And that doesn't mean I'm trying to turn you into a light worker like I am, or a light warrior, which I prefer. But it does mean that I will help you to use your talents that you have, whatever they may be, and so that you'll be happy and fulfilled, and those around you will be as well. All right. Destiny Diagnostic, you'll find it on mojomedium.com. If you can't find it, email me at mojomedium@gmail.com. Easy peasy. All right. This is what we're going to do. I'm using the Magical Mermaids and Dolphins deck. This one actually has her name, Doreen Virtue, PhD. So that's why I asked you about your cards and the angel numbers, especially because she also wrote the angel numbers book that I mentioned. All right, so this is Magical Mermaids and Dolphins, my favorite deck. I've been using them for 20 years, maybe longer. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the 3x3x3. That is, we're going to take 3 deep breaths. I'll explain a little further on that. Then I'm going to shuffle the deck 3 times while you think of your question. And then I'm going to deal out 3 cards and ask you to choose one of them to be yours. So this is fun. I used to do this in the Mighty Mojo Club all the time. Everybody loved it. So again, like I said before, if you're watching this in the replay or past, present, or future, then this is for you whenever you may see it, okay? All right, now with the 3 deep breaths, I like to fold my hands and cross my ankles so that I'm crossing the midline. You can sit however you're comfortable. If you're listening to this in the car and you're driving, please do not close your eyes or change your position. Be safe. Okay, we're going to close our eyes, 3 deep breaths, and while we're breathing, I want you to concentrate on this. I call on my angels and guides, as well as all those who have my best interest at heart. Now repeat that. I call on my angels and guides, as well as all those who have my best interest at heart. Okay, let's do 3 deep breaths. Let's go. I breathe faster than most people. All right, I'm going to shuffle the deck 3 times, and I want you to think of your question or concern, whatever's bothering you the most right now. If you have too many to pick from or you can't think of anything, use the default question, what do I need to know right now? Okay, so concentrate on that question while I shuffle the deck 3 times. All right, here we go. Now then, before I draw the three cards, I want you to think of one, two, or three. Which one is your favorite? And don't worry about picking the wrong one, you won't. But also keep in mind that this is a situation with the group effect, and that is that you are likely to get messages from one or both of the other cards as well as the one that's for you. Okay, so I'm going to pull out 1, 2, 3 cards, and you choose 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to too. I like to do this for myself too. Okay, so today I'm doing, all right. And so have you got your number? Okay, if you chose card number 1, this is for you. Friendship, make a date for a play day with one or more friends. That seems pretty clear. This is actually a little, okay, so it's deeper than it seems because I looked at it and I'm like, oh, this is so superficial, you know, it's deeper than it seems. Instead of really a play day, this is encouraging you to contact somebody that maybe your relationship has become strained, or you've had a falling out, or you need to apologize, or you think they should apologize. Reach out to that person. Wow, I did not expect that. Okay, I don't wanna. Okay, well, you know what? That's just the thing. If you get instructions like this from a card reading or from a psychic or from your late loved one, it is always your choice. You do not have to do any of that stuff. It's always going to be to your benefit if you do it, and it's always your choice. You don't have to do it. You're not going to get haunted. You're not going to get in trouble. Nothing bad will happen to you if you don't do what's recommended. Okay? Okay. If you chose card number 2, this is your card. Let yourself receive. Allow others to give you loving care and receive without guilt or apology. I tell you what, this thing, the receiving thing, we're so bad at it as women. We suck. So um, uh, in this case, though, it's, yeah. So I talked a lot about feeling worthy. We are worthy. We're born worthy because of the soul within us that is part of the divine. But about receiving, I feel like you're going to have the opportunity to receive money soon. And you just need to say yes, thank you. Now, I can't tell what the money is for. It's probably because it's applicable to a lot of people. So I'm not sure what the money is for, but just say yes, thank you, and then go and celebrate. Celebrate that you've gotten this, regardless of how it comes to you, because you are worthy of that money that comes to you. Okay. Let me make a note. I like to record these. Let yourself receive. And remember, if you have trouble with this one, with receiving, remember how good it feels for you to give to somebody else, whether it's a back rub or a new purse or $1 million. When you give something to somebody else, it feels great. So don't deprive others of that just because you don't think that they should do something for you. Remember, you're giving them the gift of being of service. Okay. If you chose card number 3, this is your card. Dream big. Ooh, let go of small thoughts about yourself and see yourself succeeding. I love that. This is true for all of us. Okay, so specifically, this is coming up around what I was talking about the power. So dream big and not about shooting electricity out of your hands. Although if you want to manifest that, go for it. No, dream big about what you are capable of. Think about things that you haven't thought about before. Like, what if I really could have a positive influence on another person or 10 people or 100 people? What if I did something? What could I do that would help others in some way? And think about something you maybe haven't thought about doing before. You know, like Candy said, she's really always loved crystals and now she's just doing it. Think about something like that. Like maybe there's something you've always been interested in, but you've never done anything with it. Think about that. Okay, that's a good one. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I think this is plenty. I hope everybody has enjoyed it. I hope you have a great day. Remember to look for the good, especially what was the look for the good? What was the look for the good that we got? We had 2 of them. I didn't write them down. Do you remember, Candy?
Money. Pretty good. We
I'll
had
have to
money
go back
coming.
and watch the replay. I have to go watch the replay. Just to find out my own part. I remember there was Stitch in Time. It was about
Oh, that's right.
don't worry
Yeah.
about being late. And then, oh, it was long distance news. Yes. So I'm thinking about who I know. I actually have a number of friends overseas. So we'll see. We'll see what comes up. I'm gonna look forward to good news. All right, everybody look forward to it. Be sure to get in touch with me about your questions and concerns, and also get a Destiny Diagnostics. We'll be glad you did. And yes, by the way, I do still offer psychic readings. MoJoMedium.com. See you next week on Woo Wednesdays. Bye.